What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and new news coming out of YouTube's CEO, and it's YouTube users' reactions to mainstream media, authoritative content, as YouTube puts it. Now, obviously, I'm biased here. I think a YouTuber, an independent YouTuber, can do just as good a job as mainstream media. Yes, individual content creators are subject to the same biases paid news actors are on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. We all have our biases, and obviously acknowledging them, I think, is a good thing to do before going forward. My bias here is that I don't like mainstream media. I'm not saying that they're always wrong or that that they can't do some good. It's just that I think they've been ruined by the 24-hour news cycle, and constantly having to have something to report on can lead you to mistakes, can lead you to making a bigger deal out of something than it really is. And YouTube itself is robbing my fellow peers of many views in terms of breaking news. Favorites of mine like Styx Hexenhammer, his channel basically impossible to find unless you know him. His coverage of the election and of everything going on out in the world right now has been pretty solid, I'd say. Just as solid as anyone else, a man who also acknowledges his own biases. But YouTube doesn't care about that. They want to push mainstream media sources to the front because, I don't know, because they get better ad rates, I'm guessing, because they can sell more expensive ads to them. They want YouTube to be like TV, but what YouTube doesn't seem to realize is that people move to YouTube because they don't like regular TV. The more you push regular mainstream and legacy media on people, the more likely they're going to be to leave. Look at BitChute. BitChute had a record month last month, and it continues to grow. Even though some of my peers continue to say BitChute's not a big deal, my views there are solid. There are a lot of people leaving YouTube to go to Brighteon or Library or BitChute to watch their videos because they're sick and tired of having CNN and MSNBC and Fox News crammed down their throat when that's not what they want. Now, this new article in Reclaim the Net from May 10th says, YouTube CEO, users don't like authoritative mainstream media channels, but we boost them anyway. Susan Wojcicki confirms your suspicions. Over the last few years, YouTube and its executives have made it clear that when it comes to news and current events, authoritative sources, mainstream media outlets that they deem trustworthy, will get boosted via the platform's recommendation tools, while independent creators who cover the news will be suppressed. Now, the general idea behind this is because their theory is that mainstream media, legacy media, is more authoritative, even though last week alone MSNBC was caught not once but for the second time, not just producing and publishing fake news but proliferating it. By the way, and then Jimmy Kimmel did the same thing last week. These are the authoritative sources that you can't get away from on YouTube. During the interview on New York Times Rabbit Hole podcast, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki admitted that most YouTube users don't want to watch authoritative sources, but said the platform will continue to boost them anyway. This seems like this is like a bold... Susan, will you come on my show? I know you give time till the New York Times, but I'd be willing to bet that just as many people watch my YouTube videos in a day that watch the New York Times. The New York Times is legacy media to a T. One of the last newspapers in existence. Nobody cares what the New York Times has to say. Wojcicki said that she decided to start prioritizing authoritative sources in the wake of what happened on Bastille Day. She then decided that YouTube would start pushing videos up from, about the tech on mainstream media, or from mainstream media on the homepage. However, after making the change, YouTube engineers warned Wojcicki videos from mainstream authoritative sources weren't performing very well in terms of engagement. Quote, the users don't actually want to see it. Ah! Amazing. 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 Imagine that Gen Zers and millennials who are flocking to YouTube more than ever don't want to see what they left behind. There's a reason people cut the cord, Susan. They don't want to watch Fox News. They don't want to watch CNN. They don't want to watch MSNBC. They don't want to watch the Daily Show or the Nightly Show or the whatever late night comedy show that's, you know, got their own political slant. They want something else. That's why YouTube is growing the way it is. That's why independent content creators and commentators like Tim Pool are just exploding on this platform. Because yes, there is an interest in news, and it would be unfair of me to not acknowledge, for example, when I cover news, it's often because some legacy media source covered it. Now, there is interest in that topic, but they don't want to watch the Today Show talk about it. They don't want to watch Lily Singh talk about it. They want somebody that they can relate to who isn't in the pocket of some corporation or shilling for some political party. I mean, how is that not clear to you? People are waking up that mainstream media is biased. Late night television is biased. People want to be entertained, but they don't want to be politicized to. They don't want to be talked down to. They don't want to be used as a pawn in some grander scheme of things. They just want the news. But Wojcicki decided to keep showing the videos to users and told the engineers it doesn't matter. We have a responsibility. Something happened in the world and it's important for our users to know, Wojcicki boasted. She added that this was for the first time YouTube started pushing information that to users that was, quote, relevant, even though the users didn't want to see it compared to other content. Yeah, just ignore everything that got you there, YouTube. I mean, we know the search algorithm is compromised now. We know that it's impossible for independent content creators to really stand out anymore. We know that people that subscribe to channels, by the way, I know about 50% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. I hope that through all of this coverage I'm giving you, through everything going on right now, that maybe I'll earn your subscription. The button's right below the video. That way, at least if you go to your subscription feed, you'll have a better chance of finding my videos. So I hope that you'll consider doing that. In the years since Wojcicki made the decision, YouTube has rigged the site heavily in favor of authoritative sources to point that they're now 10 times more likely in top search results for some news events, while YouTubers won't even get recommended for breaking news. And despite most YouTube users relatively not wanting to see these mainstream media news sources, YouTube's constant promotion of them in search recommendations and on the homepage has boosted their views by 75% since the start of 2020. Here's the thing. If YouTube had boosted independent creators, who knows how much we all could have grown? Who knows how many new careers would have started covering news on YouTube? Everything the system does. You know, YouTube doesn't let independent creators cover everything that's going on right now in the world, but MSNBC, Fox News, CNN can run wall to wall. The world is coming to an end coverage and get grade A Coca-Cola and Honda ads in their videos in 6 mid-rolls every single time. Independent creators are actively disincentivized monetarily. They are actively disincentivized algorithmically, which is why I talk about alternative platforms, supporting them, BitChute, Library, Brighteon, whatever's out there. If you're a content creator and you're not taking the 5 minutes it takes to set up mirroring your content there, you're part of the problem. And I don't say that to be a jerk. I'm just saying, like, it took me 10 minutes to mirror my content to BitChute and to Library. And just as an example, if I go to BitChute, you know, yeah, it's not as big. But for doing almost no work, I have almost 22,000 subscribers there. My videos regularly get 1,000 to 2,000 views every single time. And sometimes it's more than that. And it's going up and up and up. If my fellow content creators don't embrace alternative platforms, they'll never survive. You can't just look at something and say, there's no one there now, so I'm not going to go. You build it and they will come. Another stat that reveals how aggressively YouTube is pushing these unpopular authoritative sources is the COOF news shelf, which forces videos from mainstream media outlets onto users via the homepage that have been viewed over 10 billion times. Recent comments from YouTube's chief product officer, Neil Mohan, suggest that the platform's approach to who gets to cover the news and its attitude towards independent creators won't be changing anytime soon. Remember, they also said, quote, creators espousing opinions in their basement can't provide context on news. Yeah, well, we also can't line up doctors and nurses inside of a hospital for a photo shoot to pretend the line for testing is longer than it really is. Oh, MSNBC can do that, though. This on May 10th, Google CEO Sundar Pichai, there is a shared sense of objectively what is right. Google is confident that it's right and operates as such. During everything going on right now, big tech is on the offensive, trying to restore its standing among media and political elites by earnestly promoting their narratives about everything going on right now. And along the way, rebranding the practice of tracking people through their phones as something positive. Time magazine has an article about Google CEO, his take on the situation. The magazine also makes the bold claim that Google and Apple are collaborating to turn smartphones into contact tracing devices. And if that's not what these devices have essentially been, as if that's not what they've been for a long time. The CEO, he's pitching his trillion-dollar company as a source to which citizens and governments alike are turning to in this time of crisis. Google's main contribution and donation, improved tracking tech. But that's not all, because how information is controlled at this time is also very important. Big tech is in a great position to deliver on this point as well. The trust that Google itself enjoys is not a subject he's willing to touch. Instead, he goes for reiterating the concept that it has no inherent objective value. The trusted institutions and media organizations the CEO refers to aren't so trusted in the real world. In fact, trust in them has dropped to an all-time low. But parroting the phrase over and over again helps Google greatly in justifying why it's relentlessly promoting its big partners over YouTube. For example, while at the same time censoring smaller and independent creators. He says, "For me, supporting trustworthy institutions and sources has always been critical." Trustworthy by whose terminology? In quote, "In some ways, that's easier right now because there's a shared sense of what is objectively right." No, that's simply not true. If that were true, would people be protesting right now? Would trust in mainstream media be at an all-time low? No. But this is exactly what's going on. You need to keep an eye on these big tech companies. We look at in Australia, something like 2 million people volunteered to sign up for an app that tracks them in the chance that another person who downloaded the app might have come in contact with somebody who's sick. People are willingly giving up so many liberties right now. It's shocking. And I'm not saying to put the tinfoil on. I'm not saying everything Google and YouTube does is nefarious and evil. What I'm saying is we need to be aware of it. And we need to support alternative media platforms because competition is good. Competition breeds innovation. Competition forces YouTube to be better. And if people don't want to see CNN and MSNBC push forward, then they're going to go somewhere else. And we have to ensure there's somewhere else to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.